All right, so we're on 1.4. Squares and square roots. Oh man. All right, most of this can be taught in like 3 minutes, the basic concept of it. You ready for it?
What? Yes.
And I'm not talking about the first song of Taylor Swift's Reputation album, even though that's also ready for it.
Seriously? Are you ready for it?
Yeah, it starts off. Burr, burr, burr.
Are you ready for it? I know.
Baby, let the games begin. No? Okay, well, I guess we'll just do math then.
Alright.
All right, so squares. This is a square, yes?
Maybe. Yeah. Yes, it is.
No.
So if this is 3, then this is
4. 3.
3. And that means this is,
3.
5.
and this is.
3.
So the area of a square, how do you find the area of a square?
Multiply 1. 1 times 2 times 3 times.
Carson?
You go 3 times 3.
3 times 3.
Wow.
Remember, that little dot means multiplication. 3 times 3. So the area is 9. Let's say this is
What's the
centimeters.
shorter thing for division?
9 centimeters
Square.
squared, because it is area. So 9 centimeters squared, its area, because it is a square. That means this is 3 squared. That's what, when you hear the square of something, if I say, hey, what is the square of 3? You would say, hey, that means 3 squared. You guys should remember these from what? This is called a exponent.
Oh no.
It's called an exponent. 3 squared means 3 times 3. 4 squared means 4 times 4.
It's back.
5 squared means
5 5 5.
that is the first half of the lesson. That's pretty much the only thing you really need to know. If they say, hey, what is the square of something? You do that, and you do that with it. So if I say 3 squared, this part is the what, Carson? That part is the, you should be writing this down. And this part is the base. That's the base. That's the exponent. 3 squared. If you're not writing things down, then you can leave the classroom. I am sick and tired of me doing this stuff and you acting like it does not matter. Don't complain about not passing math class if you're not going to actually do the work in class like I asked you to. Write notes down. Yes?
How many marks do I have?
Okay, I'm going to give you another one if you keep on asking me one. I'm done with people asking me how many marks they have. That's going to count for 1. Next person who asks me, that's going to count as a mark for you. You're the one responsible for your marks. I am not the one responsible for telling you every given second and moment in class how many marks you have. What?
Sorry.
I forgive you. All right. Base exponent. So if I have, all right, write on your paper. Oh, I want a new one. I'm gonna give you 3 of them. 6 squared, 7 squared, and 2 squared. You guys have until, I need volunteers to come up and write the answers. And then to see if you guys can get done with the rest of them on your paper while the other person's writing these up here. Yep? No, just one of them.
Wait, no.
Yep, you're right. That is not correct. You're trying to have all the answers on your paper before they're writing them up here. Correct. Next. Try your 49 again. That is the worst looking 49 I've ever seen in my life.
Hieroglyphics over here.
Works for me. And 2 squared.
That's the easy.
Yeah, for your assignment you can. If you would like less time to work on your assignment, we can do more. Yes, 4 or 2. This is the only case where this also means times 2. You saw that Evan made the mistake at first, and I'm actually glad that he made it, where he wrote down 12. That is not 6 squared, that is 6
Times 2.
times 2. This is 6 times 6. 6 times 2 is what he wrote. That is not, this does not mean, you should never have 6 squared and write down, hey, that's 6 times 2. No, 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 no. That's not what we want. Yes?
It's 6 times. It's whatever number it is times itself.
Exactly. Yes?
But didn't you just say, like, approximately probably 30 seconds ago that it's 6 times 2, and if it's 6 times 2, why wouldn't you do 6
This is not 6 times 2. This is 6 squared. Remember how we wrote the square? And we said, hey, 6, that means 6 times 6. That is 6 squared. That's what, if someone ever asks you, hey, what is the square of a number? You need to think that's the number times itself. Because when you're asking what a square of a number is, you need to think of a square with all of them having that same number on the outsides of it. To find the area of the square, you multiply the number times itself. That was about, 3 minutes ago. Okay, so try not to get your feathers too ruffled. This is really challenging to follow here.
You just call me a bird.
We're gonna do the opposite of that, and then we're done. We're gonna do the opposite of that, and then we're done. So, if I have a square, and I tell you, hey, the area of this square is
8.
64. Don't say anything yet. Don't say anything yet. What is the length of one of the sides? If I tell you the area is 64, what is the length of one side? Yeah? 8. Now, you don't know that you did this, but this is what you just did. You found the square root. You can look on page 30. It has the square root of 9. The square root just means, hey, if this is the area, then you need to find the length of one of the sides. Or, what number times itself equals this number? So the square root of 9 is, everyone?
3.
3. The square root of
14.
81 is 9. The square root of
86. 85.
36 is
6.
6. The square root of 1 is 1. What number times itself equals that? The square root of 2 is
1, 2, 1, 1, 0.
1 times 1 is 2?
No.
2.
2.
I'm going to wait for one of you to get it.
4. 8. Minus 5.
1 square.
Negative 2.
doesn't have a square root?
Ah, there we go. So technically it does have a square root. The square root is just about 1.4. It's not exactly 1.4. It's actually an irrational number, so it has a bunch of decimals. It never repeats itself, never ends. But can you find the square root of every single number?
No.
Your calculator can find all of them. You cannot figure them out. You might, as a college mathematician, you might be able to figure it out. If any of you thinks hey, I want my major in college to be math, you might be able to figure this out by yourself. I did math as my minor in college, and I don't even know how to do it. So if you're a math major in college, then maybe you'll be able to figure out how to find it. But even as a math minor, I wasn't able to figure. I didn't ever have a class where we did it.
No.
So what are numbers that we know the square roots of? We know the square root of 1 is 1. We know what's the next square root that we know?
17.
Nope. What's the next square root that we know?
2.
Nope. We know it's 4. Square root of 4 is
2.
what's the next square root that we know?
5.
6. No, it's 6. 6.
Nope. We don't know. What number times itself is 6?
8.
3.
3 times 3 is not 6.
8. 8.
Oh, it's 9 then.
It's 9. Square root of 9 is
3.
what's the next square root that we know?
12.
8. 9.
Nope.
12.
10.
Well,
Think about it. First we did 1
job.
times 1, then we did 2 times 2. Now we did 3 times 3. What's the next number going to be?
12.
Nope.
The square root of 16 is 4.
16, because it's 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And it goes on and on and on.
These
If I
feathers
tell
are
you,
all
if I ask, hey, what's the square root of 25? You're going to tell me it is 5. And you go on and on. What if, so we're almost done. The only other thing is, what if there's a number that I give you, 144? What's the square root of 144? Now, if you know what it is off the top of your head, don't say it. How do you figure it out? And you should be taking notes on this, again. If you don't know what it is, how do you figure it out? I'll give you a clue. The answer is on page 31. Or how to figure it out is on page 31. Yeah?
So that little like line that's kind of like down and then it sticks out. Do we have to do that in this chapter? Or is it
Yep.
just my sloppy handwriting?
Nope. No, it's actually supposed to look like this. It's not my sloppy handwriting.
know what.
You can see on
I
page right here. See?
31.
Right there. Same thing. It's called, by the way, this sign is called a radical.
Wait, a rad?
Just for funsies. You don't need to know that, but for funsies, I'm going to tell you that. Yeah?
Rad game.
You can find it by prime factorization.
Yeah, prime factorization. So I can divide it by 2 and I get 72. I can divide it by 2 again, I get 36. I can divide it by 6 and 6. And at this point, I can keep on going, but I don't need to. What you're trying to do here is you're trying to find where are 2 pairs of numbers that I can multiply to get. Well, I've got 1 6 and 1 2. I've got 1 6 and 1 2. So I know 6 times 2 is 12. I know I've got 12 times 12. I'm looking for a number times a number. I just got my number. It's 12.
Radical.
So what you're looking for is you're looking for a number times a number, right? If you break these down, I've got 2, 2, 6, and 6. I got a 2 and a 6 and a 2 and a 6. So I've got a number times a number that equals 144. Yes?
So you're just looking for 2 pairs of numbers?
Yeah. Well, that's what if I say, hey, what's the square root of 4? You're just looking for 2 pairs of numbers that equal 4. The number happens to be 2, and you know it off the top of your head because you know what number times itself is 4. It's 2. But you don't know what number times itself is 144, unless you know your multiplication tables really well, which some of you really should. So this is one thing. The other way of doing it is you could say, hey, I'm going to keep on going.
No, I was looking at myself, bro.
And I'm gonna go 3, 2, 3, 2. Well, look, I've got 2, 3, and 2. I've got 2, 3, and 2. 2 times 3 times 2 is 12. 2 times 3 times 2 is 12. I've got I've got that is 12. This is 12. I got my answer is still 12. Yes.
One pair. 2 other ways you can do it. It's 1. In the book it says method 1. You could recall those vacation facts.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing this whole time.
But, or you can just be super lazy and look it up online.
Well, that's not gonna work.
So, wait.
That's why I said
What's up?
super lazy.
So you're just looking for 2 pairs of numbers that are on a branch that
What
can
you just
equal that
said?
number.
Yep.
Okay.
Or sets of them, because right here, unless you really knew, hey, 12 and 12. If you did this and you just got 12 and 12 right away, then there's really no point of you doing it because you must know 12 times 12 is 144. And if you know 12 times 12 is 144, you can just write it down right away. You don't need to do all this stuff if you know 12 times 12 is 24. Is 42. 144.
What if 12 times
Wait.
12 on there, then you just do that and...
That's one. What if 12 times 12 is already on there?
I don't understand this, because what if you got 6 and 6, and you don't, how do you know it's going to circle? Why is it wrong?
Okay, well, do it some other way. What else are you going to break 144 into? Okay, then you're done. You're looking for a number times a number. You have a number times a number. You don't need to break it down any further if you already know, because you're looking for what number times what number equals 144. If you got this, then you're done. You can just say 12. But that's what all this is for, dude. That's what I just explained. Give me another number. I'll give you another example.
72.
72 doesn't have a square root. Here, I'll give you another. Well, actually, that number is going to be a little hard. How about, no, that's not going to work either. Yes?
30.
30 doesn't have a square root.
36.
What about 100?
Sure, that's 10.
Okay. Well, you know that it's 10 and 10. If you didn't know that it was 10 and 10, you could say, hey, 2 and 50. And then you could say 5 and 10. And then you could say 2 and 5. Do you have any 2 pairs of numbers on there?
Yeah.
What?
5 and then 2 and 2.
5 and 2, 5 and 2. 5 times 2 is?
5 times 2 is 10, and then 10 again. And then
So the square root of 100 is 10. Because you've got a 10 and a 10. Good?
10 times 10
equal, and then you know
is
it's 10.
100.
Yep.